Good morning, guys. I'm inviting you to come along with me again today. This is Friday morning, Shabbat prep. You're going to see, maybe not, we're pretty early. You're going to see that there's a lot of people out moving around on Friday morning, getting ready to snuggle in and snuggle down for Shabbat and take our rest. One of the things that Shabbat gifts to us is anaknu Yacholim Lanuach. We can rest on Shabbat. I was trying to think of how I wanted to say that because there's different ways to say it. But anyway, one of our wonderful benefits from our Father is that we have the choice. Actually, it is a choice, free will. And if we're in covenant, we also have the responsibility that we should rest on the Shabbat. Shabbat Sababa. That's it. Shabbat. Sorry, having a hard time going back and forth between English and Hebrew. It's Shabbat Sababa. It's the joy of Shabbat. It's the rest of Shabbat. Sababa is a slang term that is used by Israelis. But the reason I'm taking you with me is because I never leave the house, ever, even if it's not the time of the barley and the wheat approaching that, if it's not that time, is because I'm always looking at the land. You know, the land has a rhythm and a cycle. We've talked about that many times. And it's not that necessarily it's written in stone, this many days and then this, or these things together, or this one after this one, but there still is a rhythm to the land, just like when the green season approaches wherever you live, there's a rhythm to the land, and you begin to notice that rhythm. And so I'm noticing the rhythm of this land, and I want to point it out to you. What I want you to look at, if you can, is the green that we're seeing. Now, the very first thing as we approach the first of the year that I begin to want to see is that along the roadside where the wild barley and oats and wheat can grow, is that those blades that look like grass begin to stand straight up. When they first begin to grow, they're bent over. Okay? They're bent over like a grass that's too tall. But if you've ever seen your yard or your lawn go to seed, the process looks like the blade, one of them, the top one, will no longer bend over, will no longer, as it were, bow. But the tip of that blade, the tip of the blade on the tip of the plant begins to stand up like a sword. And I have had the experience all these years that along the road, which acts like a passive energy collector, like a passive heat collector, and then it releases that throughout the day as the sun warms up the earth, and that heats up, and then it cools down as the sun cools off, that it keeps that heat and releases it in that period of time, that the barley, the oats, and the wild wheat mature first along the roadside. So that's what you're looking at. And I am not seeing anything along the roadside. Now, this is a different direction than I took you the other day. And I'm just running errands, but it doesn't matter. I'm still paying attention. But I'm not seeing that at this point. And I know that that's going to happen before the barley is ready any place else in Israel, because this is a very large heat collector that can really cause, like someone once said, I don't really like that term, a hothouse effect. And I don't think it's a hothouse effect because You can see also the same effect in areas on the land where there are massive rocks, that the grains around the massive rocks will also come out early. So I wouldn't really call it a hothouse effect, because it happens more than just along the road, but that's where it's the easiest to find. And if you look to the right over there, that's a field of domestic grains, and you will see the tops, it looks smooth, it's still bent over. It's not yet sticking up that sword of the top blade, because the fruiting head has not yet begun to push out of the plant. And so this is what I'm bringing you to take a look at. I thought that I would begin to educate you on my process, and that you would be able to, if anybody else will show you such videos, decide for yourself, reason for yourself that we're not close to having anything that would look like wild beet barley in this area. Now, I saw one area that I want to go back to that, it looked from what I saw that the blades may be beginning to stand up, and I need to go verify that. And so I would like to do that in the coming week. That's my plan, and my plans don't always take legs the way that I want them to, because I honestly, I'm not, it's like nothing happens by mistake in my life, because I have a covenant with Elohim. He orchestrates my steps, and sometimes his plans and my plans don't match up. But very soon, if he allows, I would like to get over there and take a look. Nope, that's all bent over on the tips. There's some wild grasses in there. That's all bent over. But anyway, that's what I brought you along with me to see this morning as I run up to this area where there is a shopping center and grab my husband's, as he would say, appetizings for Shabbat, specifically his favorite appetizing or breads. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to the bread store. Even over here on the right, there's mixtures of wild plants along the domestic grains, and there's just nothing going on in this area. But with that said, I hope I'll expand in the next, right there. Nope, not even right there. I hope I'll expand in the next week and look at another area of interest that I've already seen and I want to go back to. And if y'all wills, I'll take you along with me so you can have a look-see as well.